Alright, Eastern Bloc air guns back. This time a review with a Spanish gun from the company's out of Spain. Probably parts are made in China, of course, but maybe it's assembled in Spain and shipped over. It is like 22 caliber Gamo Swarm, one of the first editions I got. As soon as I heard this rifle got out, I bought it around Christmas time 2017, I believe it was. So this is a 22 caliber break barrel with the Inert gas piston. The piston powers it. You break it to charge the piston, and then you pull the trigger and it lets the round go. It's a break barrel, it's not a fixed barrel. What makes this gun actually unique is this 10 round rotary magazine. This is one of the first break barrels ever to come out with it, and that's what sold me on the gun. I was absolutely sold when I heard that I was going to get a break barrel with a magazine. There's nothing I hate more, especially in cold weather, to try to fit a round. So I was kind of skeptical on this magazine. I wasn't sure if it was going to hold up for a year and a half, but this magazine has had no problems whatsoever. For a year and a half, thousands of rounds. We only used one magazine, never had to buy a second. Alright, the specs. And I want to tell everyone, I have to get the specs right on these videos. That's why I write them down, because there are trolls like mad on the internet who are just, they don't make their own videos. They just want to pick out little nitpicky things on other people's videos. So I got my paper. I don't care. I had some guy tell me I wasn't smart if I'm reading off a paper. I disagree. I'm smarter than most people. Make sure I get this shit right. Alright, the Gamo without the scope and the mounts and everything and the magazine weighs 5.6 pounds, and I even weighed it. It's about right. It feels heavier because I'm used to bullpups, but it's 5.6 pounds. And it's 6.7 pounds with the scope. The anti-recoil mount helps the scope survive longer. And then the scope, this is a 3-9x40, and it comes with the gun. I'll get to the whole little section on the scope. It's worth talking about. So the gun length is 46 inches from tip to tip. And it has some bullshit recoil pad that they say it reduces recoil, but it don't need it. There's no damn recoil with this gun. That's a stupid ass selling point. And then it says it has internal baffles. I never taken this apart or messed with it or took it off to check to see if they actually work, but my guess is they probably do. The gun sounds loud when you shoot it. I didn't think they worked, but then when I heard somebody else shoot it a few feet away, I didn't hear the report of the actual gun. I heard the action, just, it was much quieter than if you're shooting it yourself. Much quieter. So it must be working. So during this review, a year and a half long-term review, just have a lot I learned from this gun. A lot that I can tell people about, but I'll get to that further in the video. Hope you enjoy. Next section comes to the trigger, which I expected the trigger to be absolutely utterly horrible because it's an entry-level gun. But damn, I wasn't bad. I mean, so in order to fire, you move the safety forward. Safety is right in front of the trigger. Save it forward, and you press it. It has a really light first stage and really hard second stage. There's no travel, but it's hard. I believe it. I haven't tested it yet, but I want to say 4 pounds, but it might be more. We'll see. There we go. Really light first, really heavy second. Do it one more time, really close this time. Super light first. If I have gloves on, I can't actually feel very well. I don't even know, but I can. First is so light I don't feel it first if I have gloves. Second, I know it's there because it's quite heavy. I never adjusted it, but it is adjustable. Never did. I probably should have. Alright. Ooh. That one messed up. One wasn't right. Went off way earlier than I thought. $363. Next section brings me to the part on the scope, about the scope. It's a Gamo brand scope. It comes with the rifle. Every swarm comes with this scope and the scope rings, or the mount that they say helps with the recoil. I'm not sure how, they never explained it, but it maybe helps, because this scope, after thousands of shots, for me, is still working almost perfect. The only thing that I can tell is kind of falling apart is the reticle. It's not completely flush. Kind of, when you see my accuracy portion of the review, you can see that it's a little bent right where the crosshairs meet. I don't believe that was there when I got it, and it just started happening probably, I don't know, a couple hundred shots ago. So it lasted probably at least 1,500 shots before I started to see anything wrong with the scope. And it has caps, so you can't adjust it while you're shooting. I originally was planning on putting a different scope on, either an SWFA or a Hawk Vantage. I nearly bought the Hawk Vantage, but after I thought about it a little bit, I decided to just stay with this scope and see how long it lasts. So far, it's lasting fine. The only biggest problem I have with this scope is there's no reference points, no mil dots for drop, which I actually, after I thought about it, I don't really need, because I'm using the lightest pellets, 22 caliber GTOs, 11.75 grain, and the trajectory out to 40 yards is pretty flat. So I just remember if I'm at 40, slightly below the hash. If I'm at 28, I think it was, is the peak, I'm slightly above the reticle hash mark. So in reality, I decided against buying a new scope, and I've been using this one. It's been working okay. It's a little frustrating when I go into barns because on a bright day 9 power works fine, pretty clear, but on a darker day I have to be on 3 or 4, and sometimes on 3 or 4 power it really does surprise me how clear this scope is for how cheap it is. A couple of clips I'll show you of the clarity on low power. The scope's just crystal clear. I've never seen a free scope that came with the gun that clear. I'll show a video of it. Clarity in that scope.
Let me see the shot.
So all in all, you know, I think they picked a decent scope for the gun. I mean, for a cheap entry level Springer, are people really going to spend a lot of money on a scope? I don't think so. I think this does good enough for, I would say, 80 to 90% of everyone who shoots this gun. So I don't believe it was a bad choice to put on there, even though I don't really like it very much. That one's falling out. Got it. All right, next portion I have to spend on how to get this rifle shooting. Most low-end rifles don't really shoot well right out of the box, at least what I've seen. And this particular one had a lot of problems with oil in the barrel. It was coated oil everywhere inside of this thing. And it dieseled all the time. That's why I was getting inconsistent velocities. I was getting velocities, a 10-round magazine, over 70 feet per second, and the accuracy was poor because of all the oil. So, and the problem is you cannot run a patch through this because of the baffling. I cannot run a patch worm. I have to do a rod, and that doesn't always work very well. And the other thing I found is, like, at a broken piece of rod, like a small 6-inch rod, I can put that down the barrel and then put the patchworm through it, and it'll guide it through all the baffles inside of this, and then you can pull it through and get all the oil out. You have to take, probably took me 5-6 patches to get it even close to clean. And then I shot a few times, and then it still seemed like oil came out of areas. I did it again, did over and over. And that's the reason, the accuracy, a lot of times if you shoot it over and over to try to burn the oil out, it'll coat the inside of the barrel and you have a bunch of carbon and slime and gunk, and that'll kill your accuracy. You have to patchworm it again, do it over and over again, and then you have to learn how to shoot a Springer. If you're not familiar with it, I wasn't, you had to really learn how to deal with the recoil. So once you teach yourself how to shoot a Springer and you clean the barrel, you'll get better consistency and better accuracy. So that's pretty much the only thing you need to do, is just worry about that oil inside the barrel. Alright, I figured I should really go in more detail about cleaning this gun because it's really important. I was talking about this earlier. I actually now using a straw. I usually use a cleaning rod, but I can't seem to find it. So I just got a normal straw. I slide it into the end of the moderator. Make sure it butts up against the barrel as far as it can go, right about there. And I open the end of the barrel, the hole. Make sure the magazine mechanism is away from the barrel. It's right about there, a little more than a 90-degree turn. You put it through, and then the straw should help the cord, the patchworm wire, guide its way through to the end of the barrel, like that. Then I pull it through. Oh, still dirty. It's getting better though. This is my 5th one. I'll take it off. It's getting much better. So that's my 5th patch. I'll show you here. This is my 1st patch, 2nd patch. Can you see it? 3rd patch, 4th patch, and this is my final 5th patch. Still dirty. I could probably do 5 more of these at least. It just shows you what's happening is the grease inside of the piston portion of the gun, the power plant, that pushes the air to hit the pellet. That's where it is. This is where the power plant hole is. It must have tons of grease in that. A person should probably take the gun apart and get some of that grease out, because this is probably the 4th time I cleaned the barrel really well, and it's still that much grease and carbon inside of it. It's crazy. So it just shows you, keep this gun barrel clean. You have to keep putting patches through it. I should have probably shot the accuracy portion after I cleaned this barrel. So when you see the accuracy portion at the end of the video, just remember, I shot those shots with a dirty barrel. You could expect tighter groups if I would have done this beforehand. Alright.